Hey there, Pisces, and welcome to your October 2019 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. As I was tuning into your energy for this month, I was getting this impression that this month is actually a really social month for you. Maybe more so than the previous months, or maybe just more so than normal, and this may be a continuation of a theme for you perhaps, but I was seeing you interacting a lot with other people, especially in almost like festive settings or events or things that you don't necessarily do every day. So there could be like a party or a trip or something like that that's coming up where you're going to be feeling pretty excited about the people that you're spending time with, and these could be people that you know well, maybe old friends, or just getting together with current friends who are very active in your life, or it could even be colleagues and networking and making new connections in a professional setting as well. But overall, I am just getting this impression that for many of you, the connections are new. And you might almost feel kind of surprised by the connections that you're making this month, because I was getting this almost kind of shocked, but in a good way. So I don't know what that means for you. I think it's going to be pretty unique for each one of you, but I was definitely getting like this image of someone kind of like, whoa, about the connections that they're making. So maybe it's with somebody who you've seen, maybe you've followed online, and you're going to actually meet that person in person somewhere, like someone that you followed on their social media accounts for a while, or it could be that you get to meet a musician that you've listened to for a long time. But there's almost this kind of excitement brewing and this feeling of, oh my gosh, I get to meet that person, like, oh, that's so cool. And it could also just be, like I said, other types of social encounters, but I'm definitely picking up this theme, and I think maybe it's very specific, but for someone out there, I'm definitely feeling that. The other message that I heard, interestingly, as I was just tuning into your energy for the month Pisces, was the phrase, "You were right." So I don't know how that is relevant for you, but I was feeling strongly that that is some kind of message for you, Pisces, is that you were right about something. You maybe pursued something based on a hunch or based on your gut kind of telling you you should pursue this. And I feel like in October you're going to get some kind of confirmation that some sort of, gut-based decision or intuitive-based decision that you made previously is actually, it was the right thing. So really keep your eye out for that, and make sure to record that in your journal or in a diary, or even just in somewhere on your phone, for example, because I feel like it's really important for you to record those types of experiences where you have a strong either psychic or intuitive or just a hunch about something, and it ends up being correct, and you end up being able to enjoy some kind of benefit from that intuitive decision that you made. I feel like it's really important for you to keep track of that, because all that's going to do is really deepen your relationship with yourself, and it's also going to deepen your relationship with your inner voice or your spirit, your guides, maybe even, depending on what you believe and how you sort of couch that internal conversation with yourself. But overall, I think it's going to be something that gives you the opportunity to trust yourself more deeply, and to feel kind of that you can work with those intuitive promptings that you get. And you're a Pisces, you definitely know that you can, but it's fun to have record of exactly how that decision came to be made, or where in your body you felt that hunch. Was it a feeling in your gut, for example, or was it just a sensation in your physical body somewhere, or was it just a knowing? Keeping track of the details of that will really help you in the future, because when you have those little sensations again, or when you get a similar feeling, you're going to be able to recognize, oh, this is that guidance moment here coming in. This is that guidance moment that I need to trust and rely on, because it's worked out so well for me in the past. So it's going to also contribute to your future success as well. Okay, Pisces, so that was a lot of channeled information. Let's go ahead and get into your cards. clear guidance for Pisces. Ooh, I feel like that's it. Okay, so this is really weird. I'm actually, in all the years that I've been doing these readings, I don't think I've ever specifically seen this in one of these readings, but I just got a really strong vision of two aliens in a spaceship. So I don't know what that is about, and it's really making me laugh because it's just so random. But maybe, you know, from a Jungian psychological perspective, I know that he has put forward, and I'm not saying this is what I believe, but he has put forward that the phenomenon of UFOs, at least as was recorded in his time, and we've had a lot of evolution of facts and things like that since then, but one of the things he postulated about the UFO phenomenon was that the circular shape of many of the UFOs that were reported, at least at the time he was alive, represented some kind of unification of the psyche. And so that was his sort of theory, because I don't think he knew what else to make of it. So there could be something that has to do with integration and unification with that symbolism coming through. It could also represent something alien coming into your life, something very new. So wow, we have the crow jumping out. That's obviously jumping out because it's your path. Let's take a look at your influence card. So we know the crow is your path. The crow as your path really signifies, again, having a very strong connection to your intuition. This is a very October-y card, so I actually love to see it here. And what's crossing you is the starfish. Oh. So again, I'm getting this repeat of the themes that we had during the meditation, which are so interesting because with the crow, for example, like we talked about, trusting those hunches, trusting those gut instincts that you get, and then seeing and noting and recording how those things evolve and how they prove to be true for you over time, or times that you didn't listen to your gut and you saw the result of that. So that can also be a theme, but more for the month of October specifically, I feel that what's coming in is more of like a recognition of some kind of intuitive hunch that actually was correct, because the message that came in was you were right. It was you were right. So you did act on it, I feel, is more the message that was coming in, and it doesn't necessarily feel as much like it's related to a time when you had an intuition or an instinct and you didn't follow it, although for some of you that could be something that you're kind of thinking about, or maybe you've had that experience, and so this month you're really making sure to act on those instincts and not allow yourself to be swayed because you are involved in someone's personality or in something else, maybe distracted from your own kind of gut instinct and intuition. So I hope that makes sense. But I do feel that this month is going to present you with some opportunities and some rewards for those past times in which you actually have noted those hunches that you get and then acted on them. The social stuff that we saw earlier coming through in the meditation is very much represented by the starfish card. So in this deck, if you actually read the guidebook, the starfish is a creature that has a great deal of charisma. It's literally about kind of feeling like a star in a lot of ways and feeling like you can share your unique gifts, feeling at the same time, though, a little bit sensitive or delicate in that process, because it's a very sensitive creature. It's a creature that's very sensitive to energies in its environment. At the same time, it's a creature that finds itself often surrounded by a lot of other energies. And I'm speaking, you know, metaphorically about the starfish personality now, that when you're embodying this sort of archetypal or totemic symbolism, you're going to find that you're attracting a lot of people into your life who are probably on some level or another, in some context, they are sort of admiring something about you, and that's why they're spending time with you. That's why they're sort of orbiting you this month. And so I think one of the kind of circumambular like messages that's coming through with this is to be mindful of those that you are keeping in your circle and those that you're spending time with, especially if you find yourself attending more social events or going to concerts or going to like after parties and things like that. If there's anything like that going on this month, I just want you to be really conscious of the energy that's around you, because I feel that sometimes the starfish, when this comes up as one of your key cards, your light can sort of attract people who are drawn to it, but they might be sort of drawn to it because they're using it to distract themselves from their own inner work, if that makes sense. So you could find yourself, again, feeling more social, a little bit more like you want to be more extroverted, but just be mindful of your energy and be careful that you're not picking up any negativity from people around you that you don't necessarily maybe need to be spending time with, or that you feel ultimately that don't really have the best impact on you energetically. So just be mindful of that, because I feel like when I look at these two cards for you, it's almost like you're a psychic sponge this month in October, and it kind of makes sense. This is a very spiritual month for many people, and I feel like for you, it's definitely no exception. You're going to attract a lot of energy with this, and I feel like most of it, like 99% of it, is going to be overwhelmingly positive. I just want you to be mindful of, caring about your own boundaries as well energetically, and also if anybody is rubbing you the wrong way, just don't spend time with them, because this is a creature that is very kind of porous. You can see, it's a porous kind of surface on the starfish card. So just be mindful of your sensitivity and be sort of have some deep sense of being rooted in yourself, so that you don't invite unnecessary energy like into your field. The more rooted and centered you are in yourself and in your own energy, and you're not getting mixed up in other people's like movie, basically, like if you are getting caught up in their story and trying to fix them, or if you're getting too involved in the drama of another person's life, then that can kind of take you out of that place of sovereignty within your own energy. And again, I don't see this as a big problem. I see October as an overwhelmingly positive month. I'm really just trying to give you the tips that I can see that may be beneficial for a number of you out there, so that you can experience the exquisiteness of your sensitivity and your intuition and your like highly developed sense of empathy and the subtlety that you're going to be able to pick up on this month. Like your psychic feelers are going to be totally out and open. So I want you to just be able to enjoy that and really soak that up and soak in all of the good stuff, all of the good relationships, all the really happy connections that you're going to be forming. And in order to really do that, we have to also have this conversation about boundaries as well, and just being aware of kind of people that that just generally don't make you feel that great after you hang out with them. So overall, though, really exciting stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at your tarot cards. So we've got the Two of Swords, the Ten of Cups, the Queen of Cups, the King of Wands, the Ten of Wands, the Seven of Pentacles, the Fool, and the Six of Swords. Beautiful. So here's our parties with the Ten of Cups. Definitely am seeing that for sure. There's a lot in this spread, so I'm just going to tune in. Okay, Pisces, so I see potentially something new coming in, actually, especially in the realm of relationships for you this month. You're going to potentially be attracting somebody who is very much your opposite. And this can be actually a quite thrilling encounter, I feel, especially if it's something that you are, again, sort of intentionally interacting with or intentionally calling in. So for example, if you're looking for a relationship, or if you are single and you're wanting to have, some more connections, this month could bring in potentially like a lover or a partner that is very, very different to you in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of chemistry because of that. And similarly, if you are a creative person or a business person and you're looking for somebody who can either be a business partner for you or who can help take your business to the next level, maybe even just as a consultant, maybe not necessarily in a literal, I give you a portion of my business contractual kind of role, not necessarily that, although it could be for some of you. I feel like if you're looking to draw in or call in the help of somebody who has different skills to what you possess, then I see this month as actually being an amazing month for that, because we see in this reading a very clear juxtaposition of you, Pisces, and everything that you're good at, and then we see kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum and everything that maybe you might on some level feel like the things that you want to get better at are represented in this like other energy that we see coming in. So that's definitely one factor, and we'll get to kind of like when that happens and the brass tacks of it. But as you go into the month, you have the Two of Swords and the Ten of Cups. So I can almost hear you, Pisces, as you go into October, feeling like there are a lot of like social opportunities perhaps, or maybe there's some really nice energy of belonging in your life with the Ten of Cups. We see this happy family, we see the 10 cups all laid out on the table, and it's a very happy, joyful environment. So again, could be a family thing, but it could just as easily be a social thing, something at work with colleagues, acquaintances, networking, anything like that. Events, professional events, festivals, anything along those lines that is relevant to you in your career at this time. I feel that the Ten of Cups is really saying that there are these kind of really nice opportunities and there's these really nice relationships and connections that can be formed, or if they're already formed, you can strengthen them. But I feel like the Two of Swords is showing kind of your ambiguous internal attitude towards it, because on one level, I feel like there's part of you that would rather just stay at home and not necessarily be as social or not necessarily put yourself out there as much. So whatever this is, you're going to have to make the decision for yourself. Nobody can tell you what you should do. For example, if you are energetically really feeling drained and you actually genuinely do need some time off, then you're going to have to stay home, Pisces, and just be fine with that. Don't be hard on yourself about that. Give yourself a little bit of room to breathe and some space. And you can always call in more opportunities later. But if you're too tired or if you're feeling worn out or burnt out, and you just don't feel like you have it in you to push yourself to do more social things in the beginning of the month, then don't worry about it. That maybe isn't for you anyway if you're not feeling up to it. But I want to encourage you, if there is this part of you that feels like you actually kind of do want to go and put yourself out there more, or maybe do some live streams in your business if that's relevant, getting more up close and personal with a group or a community, I feel like is actually in a lot of your, many of you have that as something that's in your highest good at this time. Let me just put it that way. But I feel like there's a blockage in terms of leading up to that, because you're like, I don't know if this is really worth the energy that I'm going to expend in doing it, especially if you identify as quite introverted and you get drained by having social interactions, to a high degree. So I think it's going to be up to you, Pisces, whether or not you push yourself in this arena, but I do feel like it could be amazing for you. So if there's that part of you that says, that little voice inside of you that says, you should probably do it, then maybe trust that and try and schedule maybe the next day a little bit lighter, for example, so that you don't have to be so on the go constantly, or at least schedule in some downtime for yourself so that you know you're going to have the ability to come back to yourself and get some privacy and get some meditation in, and maybe do some creative work even as well. They'll be very nourishing for you. But overall, I feel like this is actually really good, and it would be good, if it feels right, it would be good to stretch your comfort zone a little bit and to put yourself out there. I think you'll be really happy with the results. So one of the things that could come of this is the union of the King of Wands and the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups, I associate all queens with mutability. And I associate all the queens with mutability, and the cups cards are all obviously with the water signs. So we get mutable water, which is your sign. So we see the Queen of Cups, whether you're male or female Pisces, this is your significating card in this deck. And we have the King of Wands coming up, which I associate the kings with fixed energy because they are more grounded and kind of they have some position that they want to maintain. And the King of Wands, therefore, is associated with fixed fire because wands are associated with fire. So that makes the King of Wands Leo. So there could be a Leo, or there could be just any fire sign person, man or woman, who has fiery traits or fiery personality, who's somehow involved in your life at this time around the middle of the month in October. This could, like I said before, be a romantic potential partnership. It could also be a potential investor in your business, or someone who potentially brings in money into your life. For example, a manager or somebody who hires people at a company. And I say that because the moon is on this card, and the full moon is in the middle of October on the 13th, and it's in Aries, which is in your second house. And the second house is a house of finances and movable wealth. So looking at these cards, I feel like from the one perspective, it'd be really easy to say that opposites attract, and that there's somebody coming into your life potentially around the middle of the month who is very different to you, but at the same time who you have some like really interesting chemistry with. I don't know if this is like a forever thing for some of you, but there is definitely this sense of, wow, there's some complementary strengths, or there's some complementary traits here. I want to explore this further. And again, that could be coming in around the full moon in Aries. There are going to be some like tense energies with the full moon because it's squared in an exact degree square, a partile square with Pluto in Capricorn. So for some of you, this interaction may or may not involve a little bit of friction. And that may not be between you and this person or this influence. It could be between you and someone else as well. That's how it could manifest. But there is a sense of some kind of intense energies around this full moon. It's not the most intense moon that we've had, but it definitely, with that exact square from Pluto in Capricorn, it can be a little bit powerful, to say the least. And so there could be a little bit of friction there. But in general, when I first saw this, I didn't really see it as something negative. I see it more as something interesting, like some kind of chemistry heating up, or some kind of difference, like some kind of difference between you and another person. But the difference, instead of reacting to it as if it's a bad thing, I almost feel this curiosity behind it. It's like, where is this going? Or how can I learn from this person? They could be a teacher for you as well, or they could come through as a mentor, or as somebody who maybe has a temporary influence in your life, but you're going to learn something about yourself through your interactions with them, and you're going to gain some kind of self-knowledge, I feel, from this kind of experience. So I'm really curious to see what you guys feel from this, and please feel free to come back and comment on the video. I'd love to hear from you if you do encounter something like this around the middle of the month. I would be really fascinated to hear about it. But yeah, it's interesting because there's not really a traditional aspect between Leo and Pisces. So, I mean, there's an inconjunct, but it's not a traditional aspect, and I mainly only use the traditional aspects because I feel like there's a symbolic benefit in the aspects being able to divide the wheel of the zodiac into 12. So that's kind of getting off topic, but I think it's interesting, to say the least, when you get the cards that represent signs that don't have a traditional aspect to each other. And even these cards themselves are sort of not facing each other. So that can be telling us something as well. But I still am kind of feeling this, even at the, at the core, I'm feeling this as some kind of workable difference, or some kind of difference that whether or not the relationship is totally smooth, or however this energy tends to manifest for you, there is something of value to be gained, and I don't see it as being harmful. I see it as really just being interesting and curious. So that'll be compelling. In the third week of October, we have the Seven of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands. So one thing I am getting with the Ten of Wands, of course, is just that this person feels kind of burdened by what they're doing. He's carrying a lot of sticks, whereas this person is harvesting just a small amount of this plant. I feel like the third week of October is going to feel pretty full. You're going to be doing a lot, and you're going to have quite a lot of responsibilities. You might be even rushing a little bit to get everything done that you have to get done. So I want you to maybe now, since we're at the beginning of the month, hopefully when you're listening to this, look at your calendar and fast forward, to that week, and put yourself in that situation and think, how much could I physically handle this week? Do I need to change things around? If you are a person who takes clients, for example, if you're a self-employed person, make sure you're not overbooking yourself in that third week of October, because if you are, I feel like you're still going to be able to get it all done. I mean, you always do, right? You're Pisces, you just flow into it, even if it's messy, and even if afterward you need just a deep, long weekend of meditation and silence and laying on the couch, you will get through it and then recover and then bounce back. But I think if you look at this in a practical way from the beginning of October, really underbook yourself, if anything, in the third week, because that's going to feel like a lot. Even if you kind of modestly schedule yourself, I don't know what it is about your energy at that time, but I think you're going to feel like you would rather hibernate a little bit more, or just take care of everything that you absolutely have to do, and then spend the rest of the time painting or drawing or doing something fun with your kids, or getting some time off, some leisure, some hobbies. I feel like that's more going to be how you want to spend your time, even more than normal. So just make sure that you are not overbooking, and make sure that if you can, if possible, beforehand, schedule in, pencil in right now, Pisces, pencil in leisure time that week and make it totally non-negotiable. And you're going to thank me because once you get to that third week of October, you're going to be like, oh my God, it feels so good to not have to do as many things as I was sort of planning on doing this month. So try and take it easy a little bit, but you still are going to be productive, obviously, because these are two very productive cards. The other reason that I want to say that you should underbook yourself instead of overbook is sometimes when we see these two cards coming up together, it can mean that unexpected chores come our way. And so when that happens and we're already overbooked, that can obviously lead to a lot of stress and burnout. And so I don't know, I don't think the increase in chores is going to really be this significant thing, but it could be that, for example, if you have a furry friend at home, maybe they get fleas or something, and so you have to wash all of their bedding, and you have to wash your bedding if they sleep on the bed with you, and you have to wash the couch pillows, and you have to kind of mop the floors and do all this stuff to make sure that you're kind of cleansing your environment. It's not a huge inconvenience. It's not a big deal. It's not a big life event. You'll remember it, but it's not going to change anything for you in this long-term kind of scope of your life. It's just a really minor thing. But if you get a couple minor things at once, and you are also already succeeding a lot in your business or in your career, and you're taking on more responsibilities, and there's just a lot of demands coming from your either your creativity or your business or your professional life, it can be a little overwhelming. So just be mindful of that and schedule in some extra time so that you can do some chores if they come up unexpectedly, or you can, if they don't, then that's great. Then you can spend extra time working on your paintings or your book, or creating something for your Etsy shop. It can be a really beautiful time as well, where you're just really productive, but you're being productive in ways that bring you a lot of joy. So just be mindful of that. The last week of the month, we have the Six of Swords and the Fool. So what I saw actually when I turned these cards over was I was kind of seeing the phrase like, just keep moving, because both of these cards are cards of motion, and the people in the boat are getting the support they need. They're on their trajectory and they're crossing a boundary, which is the water. And the Fool is about to step off of the cliff, but he has this kind of serene expression on his face. And look, he's actually carrying, ooh, look how spooky that is. He's actually carrying the same herb. It looks like mistletoe or something in this card. So it's like he's harvested something and then he's carrying it with him. So, yeah, I love this reading. Ooh, I just got so excited. That's so cool. So, whatever you're doing and finishing in that third week of October, because you've intentionally set aside the time for yourself to finish maybe a creative project or focus on a creative project or do something that you enjoy, you're taking that with you into November. So this is indicative of actually a creative process, I feel, that's not finished this month. It's going to continue into November and December. Maybe it's something that you want to finish around the first day of 2020. Who knows? Maybe this is something that you're kind of embarking on right now, this creative journey in the latter portion of October that's going to carry you forward on this kind of wave of excitement and passion that we see with the Six of Swords and the Fool. It's carrying you forward in a new direction for your career or maybe your self-expression in some way into 2020. So that's going to be big for you guys. I feel like this is going to be something that you're really looking to the future with like positive expectations and excitement for. And there's like something about it that really feels like you're embracing sort of your adventurous heart. It's like whatever this is that you're working on, it gets you future focused in a very optimistic way, and nothing feels better than having something to look forward to. Nothing feels better than being excited about what you're doing right now and eager to see where it goes. And that's really where I see your energy right now, Pisces, at the end of the month, is you're taking some kind of efforts that you've expended the previous week, and they start to all of a sudden feel so much more fun and exciting. And I feel like what you're doing right now is laying the foundation for the changes that you're going to experience in 2020, the changes that you are going to initiate for yourself into 2020. So it's really exciting stuff. I feel like it's going to be important for you to be open to perhaps some travel or something that just kind of feels harmonious to what you need right now, because also the sun is moving into Scorpio that week, and that's going to be forming a really nice, beautiful trine aspect to anything that you have in Pisces. So it's going to feel like easy peasy, you're going to feel flowing throughout Scorpio season. And I think that one aspect of these cards coming up together as you go into Scorpio season, it's kind of giving me this impression of something that's being conveyed, something that is being gently moved along within you internally and also possibly by external events that represents a lot of growth and satisfaction for you. But at the same time, it's something totally like new and kind of exciting, and maybe you might vacillate between being excited and a little bit nervous. That's a good place to be, Pisces. That's a really good place to be, because you know that you're taking yourself to new places. You know that you're getting out of your comfort zone, and that's where growth happens, really. So I'm really enjoying this reading for you. I feel like it's really special. Let's go ahead and take a look at your Soul Trees Oracle card. Pisces. So we have confidence. Beautiful. I love to see that, and I really do feel like this is a month in which you are going to find it, especially as we get closer to Scorpio season, you're going to feel like a natural connection to your confidence. It won't necessarily feel like something that you have to think about. It'll be something that kind of just bubbles up naturally from the fact that you are putting time and energy into what you love and pursuing your passions. I also feel like with these cards in the third week of October, like making space so that you don't feel caged in by your routine or by your schedule as much as you possibly can. I know that you have a lot of things going on, we all do, but if you're kind of working intentionally with your schedule and how you're projecting your attention into the future and planning your time, I think that leaving space for doing more of what you love and leaving space for more leisure is actually going to make you feel so much more rooted in your own energy, which is going to help with every other thing that we talked about in this reading, in terms of feeling like you have good boundaries, feeling like you can enjoy the people that you're spending time with. All of those things are going to be easier when you are like rooted in yourself, which a lot of times for Pisces actually comes down to just self-care because you're such a compassionate, empathetic sign. You always go to where the pain is in another person. You always go to what other people need. And so for you, I feel like confidence really comes naturally to you when you allow yourself to be your compassionate, loving, sweet self, but you also make a serious commitment to your own self-care. So I see that as being very, very positive if you allow yourself to do that and you plan for that. Let's take a look at an energy oracle card of guidance for you, Pisces. Ooh, we've got financial constraints. So let's take a look at some more information on this. You know, it's funny because we didn't have a whole lot of pentacles in this reading, but we have a lot of like social type cards coming up. And I always think of cups as social as well. So you have some cups cards and you have some wands cards and you have that social energy coming in. So I want to get some more information on the financial constraints. Okay, walking away. So this is really interesting. Financial constraints with walking away. Financial constraints can show up to represent a time in which we have to be more conscious and intentional about our spending. So for some of you, you might have spent a little bit more last month than you expected, or you might see your credit card bill and be like, oh my gosh, like what did I do? And that's okay. I don't see it as being a super serious thing. But I do feel like the walking away card is asking you to kind of consider how you can, in a very self-loving and grounded way, cease like a particular pattern that you've been in when it comes to your finances. And that might mean spending patterns. For example, spending like on an emotional basis, or spending to make yourself feel better in a certain environment, or when you have a particular event coming up in your life and you're feeling anxiety, spending, without really thinking about like why you're doing it, can be a function of your psyche in trying to kind of blow off some of that steam. Spending can also become a habitual pattern that isn't necessarily helpful around self-confidence issues, which is ironic because what we had here was the confidence card coming up to say that when you really pencil in time to just do nothing or take care of yourself and do the things that you enjoy and love, that nurtures your soul, nurtures your spirit, and you naturally feel more confident. So one of the things that I could see here is that if you tend to spend your like leisure time in ways that require you to spend money, or if you have been doing that recently over the last few months, if you've done some big events, or if you've spent on things that you were like more leisure activities, one thing that I could see here is this kind of invitation from Spirit saying that you can rein in your spending by setting the intention to be a little bit more like using your free time in more of a creative way, or in more of like a personal, introverted, kind of productive, creative way. So that might mean that you make something instead of going out and buying something. Like that could be a theme for you this month. It could be like a depth month for some of you. Going deeper with what you already have, like the items that you already have, the books you already have, instead of buying more books when you already have a whole bunch of books that you haven't read on your shelf. So it's things like that, I think, that the walking away card with the financial constraints is saying, is that you can walk away from whatever financial limitations or financial stresses that you may find yourself in by changing your habits and by being creative about how you spend your money and how you use your resources. So that's what I'm getting for you, Pisces. I hope that's helpful for you at this time in your life. Please let me know in the comments if this reading touched on anything that rang true for you. I'd love to hear from you. And honestly, comments, thumbs up, hitting the like button, subscribing to notifications, all those things really help my channel and support my channel. So if you got something useful out of this reading, please go ahead and do one or all of those things if you haven't already, and I would really appreciate it. I'm sending you so much love. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, I'll put the information below to my website. I am accepting new reading offerings at this time, so I will put that information below the video as well. Also, I have a daily tarot challenge that I'm doing throughout the month of October. I do it every year. It's called the Witch's New Year Challenge, and you can use it for your own meditation purposes, for your own divination, and for your own tarot learning, as well as just to connect with other like-minded people. I myself will be in there reading all of your posts and chatting with you. So if you'd like to connect with me over on Instagram and participate in the challenge, I'll put my Instagram below. Sending you guys so much love. I hope you have an amazing month in October. I love you, Pisces. Mwah, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.